Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our next video in our training series. Today's video is going to focus on those unit lessons and the checkpoints that can be administered. So for this, I just went ahead and signed in using my ULS credentials. Once I'm signed in here on the welcome page, I'm going to hang up to the left-hand navigation bar. And I'm going to go all the way down to Unique Learning System, the orange snowflake. From here, I'm going to go to my N2Y GPS. The N2Y GPS is actually going to house all of our assessments that we complete for our students and the data collection. If you'll remember from a previous video, this is actually where we go to complete those observational profiles for our students. So once we're here on our GPS login, you'll see this blue hand student bar. This is actually the student configuration. So it can pull in and out, and this is when you can select your different students for who you're going to be working with today. I'm going to be working with Amelia today, so I want to make sure she's selected. So my checkpoints are actually going to be found over here on the right-hand side under checkpoints. You'll see unit checkpoints. So if I go ahead and click that, it gives me two options. I can administer checkpoints and I can view checkpoints. I'm going to go over both of these, but for the first one, we're going to go ahead and click administer checkpoint. So for every unit, we have a pre and a post test. This can be given monthly. The pre-test is a great option because it's going to be based on our monthly thematic unit. And so it's going to give us an idea of what our students actually know about the related content and how can we build on that. You can follow this from your teaching guide or your pacing guide or the dashboard and kind of go through this and determine when would be a good opportunity to do this with a student. So up here, you'll notice Unique now releases all of the units for the year, which is new. So you're going to want to make sure that you're selecting the right unit that you are working on. For you guys here, the student is in 3rd grade, so she's on the elementary band, and that's fine. This drop down and asks which tests we want to give, right? So you'll see a level 1 student and a level 2 and 3 student. All that's based on is that differentiated level that was determined based on your observational profile that you completed on the student. So for a level 1 student for our K-12 grade bands, it's going to encompass just one test on all the combined contents of science, social studies, reading, and math. It's just kind of one test, and it just introduces them to how they should be taking the test. Our level 2 and 3 students are actually going to have 4 different tests. So they have the content understanding, which is going to be that science and social studies component, reading, math, and then that word recognition. Take this in small chunks, right? We don't expect this to all be completed in one day with one student because let's just be honest and transparent, that's probably not going to happen with our students. So we want to make sure that we are taking it in small chunks and you can align it to your goals for that day. So this student is a level 1 student, so they'll take that sort of test. Now you have 2 options here. You have a pre-test, which you'll take before the unit, and then you'll have a post-test, which you'll take after you've completed the monthly unit. This is also new here. How would you like to administer the test? So before we just had 2 options. We had online and we had offline. Now we have 3, so we can still do the test online with the teacher doing the unit. We can go offline, which I'll show you in a minute and show you how to print those guides. And the newest, coolest feature of ULS is you can actually assign the monthly checkpoint in student view. And I will again show you how to do that. But now we have 3 options, which is great because some of our students can do those things independently, and that saves us a lot of time and promotes great independence. So right here, you're gonna select teacher logins. The first one I'm gonna walk you through, it's gonna review what you selected, right? So we're working on unit 25, which is yesterday and today, so it's about my country. She is a level 1 student, so she's getting just one test with everything combined in it, and it's a teacher login. So what you'll do then is come over here to this green run test. And again, you'll see this pop up with every test that ULS runs. It's just ensuring that you're, again, typing in the correct information so that that student's data is accurate and not shared amongst other students. So when I come into here, again, it's just going to reiterate everything that I selected, and it's my chance to just double check before I go ahead and get started. We're doing unit 25. She is a level 1 student, and this is a pre-test. So I'll click start. You'll see here that this is set up just like the Extend 1 that we give our students. So this is a great opportunity to work on how a student will take a test throughout the year. You have 2 opportunities once a month. Again, it's giving them these 3 picture choices. You're reading the answers, or not the answers, the questions out loud, and also gives you the option here for no response. Down here in the gray box is where you'll see the teacher directives. So again, you can read the directive of what you're asking, and then it gives you opportunities for the attempts that the student might take. If you need to hide the directions, you have that option as well. So you would read it as, Josh is a kid in the present. Who is Josh? And again, the student has an opportunity to select who they want. If the student gets it wrong, just like the Extend, they get another opportunity. So then you might need to add any verbal or gestural prompts as well to this. Josh is a kid in the present. Who is Josh? She selects. We move on to the next question. Tina is in the cabin. Where is Tina? Mall, cabin, or store? That's right, Tina's in the cabin. Great job. Now, if she's not choosing response, like I said, you can select no response and it'll take you to that next one. So that is how you're going to deliver the monthly checkpoint from the teacher screen. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. The next option you have is an offline version. And again, make sure you are selecting that correct unit that you're working on, making sure that everything is adding up down here. And right here under related tools, this is going to be your printable guide here. So this is just the offline version here. It's going to give you all the different directives, how to administer the test, what it's working on, assessing, and the different grade bands. Gives you some data scoring sheets here so you can go through and take a look at what they chose. And then it has the pictures and the words here as well. The thing to note about the offline that is really cool is that if you need to make it errorless, you can do that option, or if you need to really challenge a student and add more choices, you can do that option as well. But again, it goes through the whole test the student would be working on. And then the last option that we have that is new is going to be that student view. So if I go ahead and select student view, you're actually going to have to work backwards with this one. So in order to do that, remember, we're going to head to our student tab. So I go up to my left-hand navigation. Under my account, I'm going to students. Here's what brings me to my screen. So I'm going to select on Amelia here. And Neolas now has this new feature with a drop down. So it's going to allow you to see what has been done for the student, which steps are completed. So for Amelia, I'm just going to simply select this drop down and I'm going to go to assignments. Choose a content type. We are working on our unit checkpoints. And that was unit 25. And since she is a level 1 student, she's getting everything. So I'm going to add it by selecting it, hit next. Assign her the dates. We'll give her about a week to complete it. And what is she taking, the pre-test or the post-test? You can assign it as homework if you like, and then you want to make sure that you are adding. So just to make sure that Amelia can see that, I'm going to come back to I'm going to click on her name here and just make sure that it got added. And yes, it's right here. So it's the combined reading and math, the pretest, and the dates that it's on. If I want to view it how Amelia is going to see it, I'm going to select that little I. And again, she can come on here and she can complete the test. So that's how to assign a unit checkpoint in Student View, which that is a new feature, which I would take advantage of if I were you. So heading back to the GPS, we're going to go back to our checkpoints. So something to mention here about these checkpoints is that it's going to be the same for our K-12 learning band. They're all going to get that option of a level 1 being just one test. And then our K-12 students are going to have those 4 options for a level 2 and 3 test. Now, if I did have a transition level student, it would give me the option here of having a level 1 being combined. So they would work on daily living, employability, and lifelong learning. And again, that level 2 and 3 would give them 3 separate tests. So 1 on daily living, 1 on employability, and 1 on lifelong learning. So again, K-12 and transition are both supported in these unit checkpoints. So if I head up here to my breadcrumb trail, I'm going to go backwards to unit checkpoints. And I'm going to select view checkpoints. This is going to allow you to see all the different tests that were completed on a particular student and how they did. This particular student here, this is just my sample student, so not much has been done on her. But again, I can select which test I gave the student, and if there was more than one, I would have that option. My pre-test is going to show blue, and then my post-test will show orange if it was completed here. And again, it's going to give us different levels here. So is she advanced in something? Is she steady on it? Or does she have those emerging skills? So it gets very specific and allows us to really hone in and see what would be a great learning goal or a great option for that particular student. It'll then give you the score as well. And if you click on, if we go back, and I click on the actual test here, this little play button, it shows me again how everything was administered, right? So if you are meeting with a parent and they're like, well, how did you give the test, right? You can say, I gave the test from doing a teacher login, which meant that I was reading everything aloud and she was selecting the choices. And it just gives you a summary, again, of what she was able to get right, what she was able to get wrong, and the prompts and things that she was needed. So great information. You can also print a report if you needed to add to their data notebook, or perhaps to, give to a parent during a meeting if you're talking about things. Another great data tool. So I hope that this video was helpful on learning how to administer our unit checkpoints in the GPS. And definitely take advantage of the new student view feature if you are able to.